and and everyone just dumped on him. So
all right, well, what are you going to do now? Guitar World, surprisingly, and actually timing was unbelievable. They're celebrating their 40th anniversary, and they put Eddie on the cover. 40 guitarists that changed the world since 1980. So this was kind of coincidental because Eddie Van Halen was on the cover with this killer picture from 1979 when Eddie was like early 20s, and he's got the Bumblebee guitar. And they said the Eruption changed everything in less than 2 minutes and set new standards and new foundation for shred. And of course, the other guitarists on the list were Tom Morello and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Slash and Izzy Stradlin and Steve Vai and The Edge, Alex Lifeson from Rush, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, Zakk Wylde, Nuno Bettencourt, Randy Rhoads, Kirk Hammett, Brian Setzer, Joe Bonamassa, Jason Becker, Malcolm and Angus Young, Joe Satriani, Joan Jett, Billy Gibbons, Derek Trucks, Yngwie Malmsteen, and more and more and more. So obviously Eddie's in really good company there, and I can only imagine the tributes that Guitar World is going to come out with. So I'm going to tell everybody. Listen,
they love him.
Do yourself a favor and keep an eye out, because they're probably going to do some special edition issues coming up, because they have some they should put out a book. They should not even do a special issue. They should put out a book with what they have on Eddie. And I know they did one many years ago, a small version of one. But I would like to personally buy David Crosby a subscription to Guitar World magazine, because maybe it would change that math to a So we'll see what happens.
Funny.
And the last item of this incredibly long and epic Van Halen news, I think it might be November already, is Ray Luzier, Dave. You remember Ray? He was David Lee Roth's former drummer.
Right.
He is currently in the band Korn. He was in the DLR band, and he played with Roth during many different periods of his solo career. And he announced that he's writing a book. And he put it right up front that 50% of the book will be about his 8 years with David Lee Roth. And his quote is, "I love him to death," meaning Roth. "He is the most amazing and one of the best entertainers ever. There's a lot there. There's a lot of content." This was in his recent interview on WMMR from Philadelphia. And what do you make of that? Huh?
Wow. So Ray's writing a book?
Ray is writing a book. He's a young man to write a book. But I love that he said 50% of the book is going to be on David Lee Roth.
I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Looking forward to that. And so we are looking forward to the rest of this episode. And that wraps up Van Halen news.
And that's the way it is. Good night.
And my God, this is going to be a feast for thine ears. Dave and I are going to rate our top 10 Eddie Van Halen moments. And that is going to be all listed, going back and forth between the two of us, what we think are Eddie's most shining moments. And we have not revealed these to each other. We do it right on the air so you guys can enjoy that. And that is going to be followed by our interview with Jake C. Miller of Completely Unchained, the Van Halen tribute band. And Jake is the closest tribute guy to Eddie, and he is speaking about his love and a dedication to Edward Van Halen. And we have an interview with Derek Sherinian, the keyboardist for Sons of Apollo and Black Country Communion. He is a hardcore Eddie fan. He absolutely adores Eddie, plays Eruption on the keyboards, plays Spanish Fly on the keyboards, played And the Cradle Will Rock with Sons of Apollo in his band. He played with Eddie at that crazy party at his house in, what was it, like 2006 or something like that, Dave?
Right.
Really wild stuff from him. We spoke to him on the day Eddie died. He has a new solo album called The Phoenix out. Really fantastic record. And before that, Dave, oh my God, we got a massive mailbag. I don't think Dave's going to make it. It's going to be tough, but wow, this is a whopper of an episode. We are going to... This is beyond all measures here. But it's all coming up next. Take a listen.
What I'm doing on stage isn't me. That's the only thing I can do. I put everything I got into what I do on record or live, and I'm glad people like it.
If you need a dose of VH, get a taste of the closest thing. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band, playing all the hits from the David Lee Roth era, first classic 6 albums, plus deep cuts, some of which have never been played live before by the band. They even throw in popular tracks from the Sammy Hagar era and solo hits. The most viewed Van Halen tribute band on YouTube, Romeo Delight, doing customized recreations of staging, instruments, and costumes from the classic Van Halen era. They even perform entire Van Halen albums in sequence. Romeo Delight plays theaters, casinos, summer indoor and outdoor festivals, and special events. They're also available for private parties. To contact them, call Bud Blanche at 215-704-5144. That's 215-704-5144. Or via email at sonicparade1@yahoo.com. Romeo Delight, the ultimate Van Halen tribute band.
Hey folks, this is Steve Iyer. You're listening to Dave and Dave Unchained, so turn it up.
Are you a guitar enthusiast? Want to learn all the tricks and licks of the trade? Searching for that Eddie Van Halen sound and speed? Want to play in the style of Alex Lifeson of Rush, Mick Mars of Motley Crue, or Brian May of Queen? Then sign up for Zoom lessons from the best, Lance Turner, the guitars for the #1 Van Halen tribute band, the Atomic Punks. Lance will take you on as his personal student in the comfort of your own home on Zoom. To sign up, contact Lance via email at lancetLessons@gmail.com. Lessons are at an affordable rate of $40 an hour. Email Lance today at lancetLessons@gmail.com. That's LANCETLESSONS@gmail.com. And learn how to jam like a star.
I started playing guitar till I have something on my own that I like to do, and people will look at me and go, hey, he's good at something. I never bargained for all of this. I don't think I'm any different than anyone who comes to see us play. It really isn't an inferiority thing. It's just the way I feel.
All right, Dave, you know what time it is.
Well, my buddy Dave, he don't want me around. He says he's tired of watching me let him down. He just wants a good mailbag. He wants only the best. But he hates disappointment better than all the rest. And he says that he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble. Well, he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble. Well, he thinks that I'm headed for a whole lot of trouble if I don't nail the mailbag intro.
That's right, it's mailbag time again. And oh my God. All right, so just to let everybody know, we have to do this on a separate night. That's how big the mailbag is. And we have made it an hour earlier, and we filled Dave full of Starbucks so he could stay awake, because we all know he gets sleepy.
That's right.
There he is.
And while we certainly appreciate everybody who wrote in, and somebody had some very long and nice tributes to Ed, thank you so much for taking the time for that.
Yep.
We just couldn't possibly read everything that everybody wrote.
Oh, yeah, it's a little much, yeah.
So sorry if we didn't read it all, but
right.
Like Dave said, we just had so much mail.
Yeah, it's like letters to the North Pole over here.
But thank you very much for everybody who wrote in and took the time to do so. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, continually mourning Ed and everything that goes on with his family, and obviously it's a week that it's been since he's gone, and it's hard to believe, but as we all moving forward. So, all right, so letter number 1 comes from Greg Chaffee from, I think, Orange County. He says OC. I'm assuming that's Orange County. Okay. He says, just wondering, do you guys follow Jack Black on Instagram? He does these small video clips where he's simply in front of the camera, plays different songs, and reacts to them in only the way he can. He has done Hot for Teacher and Eruption, and they are awesome. I have listened to all your shows, and I really appreciate the time and effort you put into each of them. Greg Chaffee. Well, Greg, I do. I follow Jack Black on Instagram, and he is continually entertaining, that's for sure. And he's a total rock guy, and he doesn't put it on. He doesn't put it on. He really is a fan of whatever he is singing or joking around about, and he's a hardcore Van Halen fan, so he loves VH, and he totally captures the spirit of the music that we love, and that's obviously was encapsulated in his role in School of Rock, which is why that movie was so great. It's all because of Jack. Any comment, Dave?
No, I actually haven't heard Jack Black do that, so
Yeah, okay.
I can't speak to that.
Okay, no problem. Dave's not a big social media guy, so he doesn't really, remember, Dave's a lot older than me, so he doesn't really know about social media. He's a full 3 days.
So I was going to say, those 3 days put me over the edge.
It puts you right over the edge. Okay, letter number 2 comes from Ken Whaler, and he says, "Hey guys, listening to your podcast, episode 54, and you talk about Little Dreamer Ale. Have you ever seen Everybody Wants Some Double IPA made by the Hoof-Hearted Brewing Company out of Ohio? I just got a 4-pack this week, and as a Van Halen fan, you know I had to have it. Love the podcast, and it keeps me company on my long runs." Ken Whaler. Okay, Ken. Well, listen, Everybody Wants Some Double IPA. I have not tried that yet. I'd love to try some. If the company would like to send us some, Dave and I would happily accept some samples from the Hoof-Hearted Brewing Company. But I have to tell you, I look forward to sipping a cold Panama Pilsner, if that's going to be coming out soon, so we shall see. Dave?
Always looking forward to a Van Halen beer. I haven't had any, but I did see pictures of that one, and I do love the artwork that they put on there. Very nice.
The artwork is very, very cool. It's exciting to see that there's that much enthusiasm for a band that's as old as Van Halen to be putting out beers, which is kind of cool. Letter number 3 comes from Devon Miller. Devon makes cartoon balloons in town. All right, here we go. Listened to the August podcast and wanted to make a comment about Wolfgang's reference to the song Me Wise Magic and how they couldn't do that song because his dad needed a special guitar. This song was recorded using the Steinberger Trans Trem guitar. This is the same guitar Eddie used for the Summer Nights and Get Up recordings. At one point, he also had a PV Wolfgang guitar retrofitted with a Steinberger Trans Trem bridge. I do remember pictures of this on the internet of the Steinberger guitar being sent for repair a while back. Perhaps that was because Wolf wanted to do the song live. Talking about when we reviewed the Balance album, he had sent in a letter about how he liked Eddie's guitar tone. He said, "Your speculation on the cause was around the time Eddie switched over to PV Wolfgang guitars, and I decided to do a little digging. While it was true that the PV and Fender Wolfgang guitars are a bit darker sounding when compared to the Frankenstrat, Kramer, and Music Man guitars, I did find out that Eddie was also making modifications to his amplifiers at that time. PV started making the smaller combo amps of the original 5150 with an extra tube to the amps to keep the sound big, and Eddie liked that extra tube to the PV 5152, and he carried that idea over to the Fender 5153 amps. Extra tube adds extra compression and distortion to the tone, making the guitar sound more squishy and the notes less distinct. In my opinion, it's too much distortion and the notes are not allowed to breathe, as much as they did on earlier albums." Devon Miller. He's also said he's in a band called Standing Hampton. I wonder if that's a Sammy Hagar tribute band. Interesting. What do you think, Dave?
He's not the first person who's talked about Ed's more modern tone and compared it to his older one and has made that statement that the notes were clearer in the old days. I've heard that before. I'm not a tone chaser, so I don't hear that stuff as much as other people.
Right.
I was usually a fan of Ed's tone. I liked it for a different kind of truth in all the tours we saw. Mm-hmm. But hats off to people who can tell the difference.
And they're mainly musicians.
Yeah, well, certainly, I mean, my ears are shot, so certainly not me.
Right. Well, we bowed to Eric on that from the EVH podcast. He's the man to ask those kinds of questions with, for sure. I appreciate you doing the research, Devon. Ed was always searching for the best sound, and he would stop at nothing to make that happen, which was what made Eddie so interesting. In addition to his playing, people rarely know that, yes, of course, Eddie had a unique sound and tone, and that came from his talent and his feel. but he also was a master crafter at like tinkering and